Welcome, entrepreneurs. I'm Ann Kay on my lifelong quest, Escaping Ordinary. Join me as I interview wildly successful and rising entrepreneurs that value travel as an essential influence in their outlook and mindset, and how it helps them live happy, fulfilling lives, build successful businesses, and craft their own extraordinary lives. I'm Ann Kay, and this is Escaping Ordinary. I'm so excited about today's guest, but first, if you missed the last episode, I hope you'll check out my interview with Gary McIntosh from Operation Underground Railroad, where we discussed light and hope in dark places. Okay. Today, I'm excited to welcome back Dave Espino to Escaping Ordinary. He's a lifelong entrepreneur, and I'm happy to say one of my personal coaches and friend. He has a mission to make a difference in people's lives by helping them start and build businesses online. I mean, he has over 60 courses in digital marketing. Dave's courses are helping over 780,000 students in 185 countries. He is kicking off a new course called Coursellator that if you look back in a previous episode, we go into more detail on, but if you're not using it, you need to go check out the links I'm going to have on the bottom of this episode and work from home. But most people don't realize that Dave is a skateboarding fanatic and a little crazy in my opinion, but Dave's back to explain to me what he means by meditative when he's talking about his obsession with what I think is a dangerous hobby, skateboarding. Dave, welcome back to Escaping Ordinary. I can't wait to hear how you explain to me how you can work meditative in with skateboarding in the same sentence.
That's funny because I actually created a t-shirt that has the title Dangerous Meditation. I forget who coined that phrase, but I was talking to somebody and I said it's kind of meditative when you're skateboarding because you have basically two choices: stay focused or potentially die. And so when you have those two choices, stay focused or potentially smash into concrete, guess what? You stay focused. You're it's a very meditative state. And I remember the very first time I saw somebody skateboarding, I was actually at the swap meet with my parents selling, in our little stand. And I see a kid riding a skateboard on this smooth black asphalt, and the wheels hardly made any noise. And it was like he was just gliding. It was almost like he was on a magic carpet. And I was like, oh, I want that. I want that feeling, whatever it is. I want the feeling of gliding and floating. And so I saved up my money, bought my skateboard, and I got that feeling. And ever since getting that feeling, I don't want to stop getting that feeling. It's just such an amazing feeling of freedom, of flow. And I'm happy. Here I am. That was when I was 12 years old. Okay, I got my first skateboard. And here I am, 56 years old now. And I still am addicted to that feeling. And I literally am happy just riding down the street, just literally gliding. Like there's pro skateboarders who do the most ridiculous, amazing, crazy things, right? To me, it's never been about competition. It's never been about doing amazing tricks or doing, incredible stuff. I have done that, in my youth, but I'm literally just happy gliding. That's it. Just that feeling. Now, talking about meditate, well, I'm starting to find I can talk a lot about this. Talking about how meditative it is. It's similar, in my opinion, I think it's similar to snowboarding, surfing, probably skiing, where there's potential danger, there's speed, there's flow. And I think whenever there's potential danger, it focuses your mind to such an extent that everything else is blocked out. Mm-hmm. So if you've ever been in any activity, I mean, it could be crocheting for all I know, where your mind just goes and you're just in that activity and there's nothing else in the world that matters. That's kind of how it is for me with skateboarding. That's why I call it meditative, but it's dangerous meditation.
That's amazing, though. Yeah, and it's true. It's when you really get focused on something. I mean, it's as simple as weeding. Sometimes I'll go out in the yard and just weed, and you just don't think about anything else. It just takes you into another, or scuba diving. You're down there, and it's dangerous. I mean, you do have to. There are precautions, but you're in that moment. And
and you may be amazed, but I've never. In all those years, from age 12 to age 56, I have never broken a bone, ever.
Wow.
I've sprained ankles and wrists, but never broken a bone. I've gotten knocked out one time. I was coming in from doing a backside air outside of a pool. I was coming in, my back trucks hung up on the coping, and I piled into the bottom of the pool.
Ooh, ow.
And woke up in a pool of blood and looked up, and all these kids at the skate park were looking down on me from the top of the pool. As it turned, I was wearing a helmet and everything, but still got knocked out. But that's the worst injury I've had. But here's an interesting point about that. I was talking to my friend Lance Mountain, who was a famous skateboarder in the 80s, still famous. He's like the kind of the well-loved persona in the skateboarding world. And he and I, we used to skate his ramp back in the 80s. I was talking to him about my knockout, how I got knocked out. And I told him, hey, yeah, I was trying this alley-oop. I was trying to learn this alley-oop air, hit the coping, land at the bottom, knocked out. He goes, I did that 7 times. And I'm
so
like,
you're in good
wow.
company.
What it highlighted to me was that's the difference between a pro and just an enthusiast. An enthusiast will say, that was my worst injury ever. A pro says, oh, I did that 7 times. Why? Because they were willing to get up after that and keep trying it.
Until they
and
perfect it.
Not that he did that 7 times in one day, but that shows the difference. Like when we think we've done so much, or we think we've worked so hard for something, and then you get introduced to somebody at a high level and you go, oh yeah, I mean, that's common. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, yo, yeah, you're not even trying hard enough, And it's not like they're looking down on you. It's just that they have different standards. They have a higher level of standards to go, I've got to make this. I've got to learn it, and I will not stop.
There's no.
Yeah. And so there's a lot, I think, that I learned from skateboarding that applies to the entrepreneur life. Most of it being around work harder. Failure is the necessary component to success. We grow up in school thinking and programmed to believe that failure is like death. You should never fail. How dare you fail, right? In the entrepreneur world, it's like, if you don't fail, you're not going to get anywhere.
You haven't done enough.
Yeah, if you don't struggle and if you don't learn from those failures, you're not going to progress very far, And so making that little mind shift is so important to go, oh, failure is just a necessary step to success. It's not the end, and I'm not going to die if I fail.
Right.
It's just a step. It's a step on the way to progress.
I think you're right. School was just like that. You fail, and it was awful. I was not a good student, but my parents were amazing. They were older, and when they put me in positions that I could fail under their wing so that they could direct my next thing to do. So they put me, okay, you failed at this, let's do it again. And let's figure out what you did wrong so we can do it right. And it trains you to look for ways around things, to look for solutions. I think school does such a bad job with preparing kids for that. And it isn't until you get into like your training and some of the things that when you get into the entrepreneurial world, you have to find ways around things or crash and burn. And if you crash and burn, that's fine. Just see what you did wrong and then find a way to make something else work based on the knowledge. And I think, your skating is a perfect example of how you failed. You fell, you pick yourself up, and you keep going. And
it's funny nowadays when I fall. I'm 56, so when I fall, it's number one. I try very, very hard not to ever fall. First of all, okay. So which means I'm skating very, very safe. I'm not pushing anything, no boundaries. I'm just cruising, right? I'm still skating pools and all that, just being very, very conservative, right, with my skateboarding. But when I fall, I almost laugh and get back up and just keep skateboarding. And because that's the spirit of a skateboarder, is a fall does not dictate the end for you. A fall is just part of the game, right? And it reminds me of a great documentary that I'd like to recommend since we're on the subject of skateboarding. It's called Waiting for Lightning, and I believe it's on Amazon Prime. And it follows one of the true revolutionary skateboarders called Danny Way. And Danny came up in kind of a difficult childhood. Seems like he had a lot to prove. He's almost kind of like the Evel Knievel of skateboarding. He goes and tries the most ridiculous, crazy things. He literally jumped the Great Wall of China. That's one of the things that's highlighted in the movie. So anyway, his story is so compelling and so inspirational. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, It's really a good video to watch, a good movie to watch, because it shows how far he takes this idea of falling and getting up, falling and getting up. And I won't give the whole story away, but he did something. He did a particular air on the mega ramp. The mega ramp is like 22 feet tall. And then he was like 20 some feet above that, flying, hit the top of the ramp, flopped 22 feet down below that. And I'll tell you what, if that injury had happened in football, basketball, hockey, they would have taken that guy out and in an ambulance and whatever, right? He just stands up with the help of the medics. He stands up and starts walking back to the top of the ramp.
Oh my.
To go do it again. That to me is the essence of the kind of courage that you want to have. Now, I don't think we can all have that, but you want to have. It's a good example, the courage it takes to fall and get up and keep going. And it's super inspirational when you watch that documentary.
I'm going to watch that because I like Rudy. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I love that movie. It's called Waiting for Lightning.
Waiting for Lightning, yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's an amazing story. It goes into how he jumped. He had this idea to jump the Great Wall of China and they actually, did it, pulled it off. The elements like wind and things you don't think about when you're jumping a skateboard over the Great Wall of China, the measurements and the dimensions of the ramp and how everything needs to be just right. There's amazing.
A lot of, you've got to do all the math and everything else before you even consider doing that sort of thing. Does he have like a team do that, or is he brilliant enough to be able to come up with all of that?
I'm sure he has, ramp builders and they figure out the science behind it and whatnot. But some of the stuff is just like, you just go after it and go try it.
Wow. That's some of these extreme sports just, I was never like a big sports person, but the extreme sports, you wonder, have the guts to do that sort of thing.
When you watch Waiting for Lightning, you'll be wondering where does he get that inner courage? Where does he get that drive to keep pushing the limits, pushing the boundaries? I was never that type of a skateboarder, but I can watch it and be inspired.
Be inspired by it. Yes, I get it. Now, you're going to have to do me a favor.
Sure.
You're going to have to take your Coursellator, figure out how to create a course for over 50 skateboarding, because I just came up with a brilliant idea for a product. It's basically a suit for people over 50 that's made up of cushioning that you can go from the top of your head to the tip of your toes and bounce, and it doesn't matter. I think something like that could really, really start a whole new craze in senior activity.
See a bunch of people just bouncing around. That's awesome.
Oh, dear. Oh, you know what? I got a better idea. We can take this big ball of the bouncy. It's like big, what do you call that stuff that snap, the cushions?
Bubble wrap.
It's like a big bubble wrap thing. And then we glue a skateboard to the bottom of it. And then you climb inside and you go sailing like you were talking about, and you get in that zone, and we all can do it. I love it.
That's funny. We need some serious attorneys for that one.
That was fun.
Good.
Okay, please tell people how they can reach out to you.
On the Coursellator program, just so people know, Coursellator is a done-with-you program where we help you get your course created in one weekend and selling in 1 month. And you can learn more about that program at daveespinolive.com. And then if they just want general information or to get a hold of me, the best way is to go to my blog, and that's at daveespino.com.
And personally, I can say you could not get a better coach than Dave Espino.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for listening to this show. It's been great to have you here. And if you liked what you heard, please hit the subscribe button now, like, share, and leave a rave review below. It would be most appreciated. And don't forget to join us next week. I can't wait to introduce you to my next guest. While you're at it, head over to Facebook and join the Escaping Ordinary group. You'll find the link in the episode notes. Once you're there, you'll be able to interact with me and like-minded entrepreneurs also looking to escape ordinary. Oh, and when you join the group, you'll get a special gift designed especially for those escaping their ordinary. In the meantime, be looking for those precious gems of inspiration all around you when you're traveling the world or just going around the corner, and start filling your treasure chest of insights.